This is one of my favorite recipes I've created, mainly in part to that you don't technically need any lobster meat to make this. Remember those lobster shells from a few weeks back you have saved in your freezer? This recipe comes from the byproduct of leftover lobster shells. I'm going to show you how to make my standard lobster stock that can be used and applied to various different cooking preparations. We'll start with about 1 tablespoon of olive oil in a medium to large pot. I'm using the shallow one to only allow you a better view. I would opt for something larger personally. The shells of 3 lobsters and any leftover lobster bits, I like to toss the shells in the oil and lightly toast them until they begin to expel their oils and fragrances. This should happen quite quick. Then add 1 cup of carrots rough chopped, 1 cup of tomatoes, any kind you have really, you can use canned even if you have to, and 1 onion rough chopped. Mix all of these up, and as you know from our Kitchen Essentials video, this stock will eventually be strained, so we don't have to worry about perfect cuts, just uniform ones that help everything cook at the same rate. Next, fill the pot with just enough water to cover everything. Bring to a simmer, and then cover and let this rock out for at least 2 hours on low. Then we can strain it, return it to the heat, and reduce it by half to intensify that lobster flavor. And boom, you got yourself some pretty bitchin' lobster stock. Now for the risotto. You must use arborio rice, or better known as risotto rice. You will not get the same effect using any other rice. That's just a fact. Arborio is famous for its starch content, which when slowly released from its kernels, gives way to this super creamy, velvety risotto. There will be no measurements, as I will be teaching you technique. If that makes you nervous, then fine. Use a 2-to-1 ratio of water to rice, but trust me, you're going to be a pro by the end of this video. I'm using a deep, wide-bottom saute pan so we have a large surface area and enough room to really cook this down with our stock. The high sides are easier for that. Also take note of the spoon I'm using. Flat bottom helps me get into the corner edge of this pan a little bit easier. That's a pro tip. Now, when your risotto gets warm and you can start to smell a nutty aroma, that means your rice is starting to toast and you can start adding your liquid, as I already started here. Now, it's important your liquid is also hot. It doesn't need to be boiling, nor should it be, but a light simmer is going to help maintain the cook throughout this process. If we use cold stock, every time we add some to our rice, we are dropping the temperature, and this already long process is only going to take even longer. Now, you can add herbs and aromatics to your stock, maybe even a ratio of white wine to help layer these flavors, but I truly want to show you how much lobster taste we are going to get, so I'm going to omit all that stuff this round. So far, we're about a third of our way there. We've added about 5 ladles or so of stock and only adding more once the liquid has mainly evaporated. We'll keep this on medium-low for the entirety of the recipe now. At this stage, I like to add about a tablespoon or so of tomato paste for both color and a vegetal quality. While this cooks, the starch that gets expelled from the grains will actually help thicken the liquid, giving you this super creamy texture without the addition of butter and cheese. But don't get it confused, we'll definitely be using both butter and cheese later on. Well, how am I going to know how much liquid to add if you're not showing us a recipe, Matt? My friends, I am teaching you how to fish, not just giving you one. Keep an eye out for a few clues. Your rice should start getting opaque as the starches are being expelled. You'll notice the viscosity of our liquid isn't just a broth anymore, it's getting thicker. You'll also notice the absorption rate of this rice is going faster now that you're almost there. Lastly, probably one of the best indicators is the classic spoon pull. Run your wooden spoon across the bottom and observe the speed the rice falls back into place. If it's quick, then our liquid is too thin and not enough starches have been expelled. We want this to fold back on itself slowly, like so. After about a good 20 minutes or so, your rice should be al dente and sitting in a nice, viscous yet stable sauce. Next, add a few knobs of butter. Once your butter is melted, turn the heat off and start seasoning. Next, add a few rasps of lemon zest, a touch of lemon juice, some pecorino romano cheese. Again, do this off the heat so the cheese doesn't break. Then your chives, and of course, mix it all together and give it a taste. See if it's any good. How'd you do, big guy? Okay. Oh, season with salt and pepper, if need. Next, we'll plate our risotto, which may be the most important step of this entire meal. In fact, if you take anything from this video, let it be this. Never, and I repeat, never serve risotto in a bowl. If we piled this all in a bowl, we would have a clumpy mess that would actually start to overcook in itself. No. To plate risotto, get a flat dish like you see here, pile a few spoons on top, and bang it on the bottom like this. Your risotto should be flat. It should be able to stand on itself in a single grain layer. It should hold itself and not be too runny. If it begins clumping and becomes sticky, you did not have the proper ratio of liquid added during your cooking process. This is really something that's only going to come with practice and experience, but it is a sure sign that separates the noobs from the pros. Now, I of course had some extra lobster in my back pocket. What else do you keep in pockets? But again, this dish pairs nicely even without it. I hope you all feel confident with your new rice powers and get in the kitchen and try something new. Don't be intimidated by risotto. No Nona is going to come knocking on your door and hit you with a wooden spoon if you screw this up. But I will probably find you if you throw this all in a bowl. Like, seriously, that's sacrilegious where I'm coming from. Speaking of sacrilegious, if anyone tells you not to put cheese on your seafood, kind of like my dad, don't listen to them. Cheese is delicious. We'll see you next time, friends.